Hey, and welcome back to the Amazon EU Masters, live from our studio in Berlin. As you can see, I'm not Orchid, he's not Orchid either, but we are two analysts ready to break down something that happened in that last game that caught our eye, because, let's be honest, most of these fights have been fairly scrappy. This one was a bit longer run at it.
Yeah, this one actually maybe was okay to put on a telestrator. All the other fights were over pretty quickly, I think. But it also showed how much of a difficult time X7 actually had with navigating these fights. I think GameWard really had X7's number in the first two games, and it really showed in this fight where X7 tried to do some work, but they really got caught off guard.
Yeah, so we're going to pause it at a couple of points. First big point is this, because what we're going to go see is Akabane flying over the wall onto X7's Attila. A lot of this fight is going to come around actually trying to fight around certain choke points, like actually just north of there into this point too. What you can see is that because Akabane is going straight onto Attila, Attila isn't going to have his ultimate, isn't going to have his mobility to fight on that choke point afterwards. Anything else to add on?
The Yuumi's also on Attila, so you're basically getting a 2-for-1 special where you do the hard engage on the carry, but you're also keeping the Yuumi out of the fight.
Yeah, so then when that's kind of done, you look at Attila kind of say like, oh heck, this is kind of awkward. You're fighting over this choke point, and once again, you've got kind of this point where everyone's fighting around here, but Attila's not in the right place for it. So it gets really difficult after that point.
Yeah, this happens a lot. Also, if you see where Tempt is, he's trying to encroach up onto the choke point to see if he can actually make something happen, to see if he can actually help his team out. But because of Akabane hard engaging and getting the Seraphine ulti on top of it, it's just one member you lose to get a carry out of the fight, which is amazing for GameWard, because even though kamilius drops low, he never drops down.
Yeah, so after this point, a couple of things start to become really, really awkward. One, Attila doesn't really have the fighting potential. He's down very much out at this point. And one thing which actually caught my eye, which is really interesting at this point, is GameWard really just assessing who's going to be winning this fight. Whoever is in this spot is in a really difficult point, because particularly if you're X7, you're attacking from one angle. If you're GameWard, you're fighting from two. But either way, if you are stuck here and you don't have ultimates available, you're stuck in this huge quagmire of abilities and damage. And immediately after the first parts of the fight, GameWard and X7 have both traded a lot of ultimates, but I feel like GameWard care less about their ults. They're ahead in the game. They've got better basic abilities, particularly on the likes of the Sylas with so much ability. And after this point, it gets very difficult.
Yeah, but look at as well how the fight for X7 really breaks down now. You have Attila on one side. He never really left the side where he got pushed away from. And then Chasy went to fix the lane top side to get some healing. But look at Chasy now. If you pause right here, he's left on an island. He's not playing top lane at all. He's just dying in a fight where Attila just disengaged. And as you said, just controlling the choke point was so huge for GameWard that Innaxe never even got touched. And that's why they don't care about ultis. If you have a Seraphine, everybody has 5 HP bars.
And then you can just see how they just run over the fight at that point. And this is the last real big point. Once you start losing a fight against GameWard, they have enough ability to chase you down. So a couple of key things happen in this fight. One, immediately assessing who the threats are on X7, shutting Attila out of the fight, using your better mobility, burning a load of ultimates, and controlling the terrain just a lot better than X7 did. And that's basically how GameWard took what was probably the closest contested fight that we had in the series. Well, that's all we got from this clip, so we may as well bring things back over to the desk over here and join Orchid, who's been sat out for a while. Happy to have you back.
I actually am Orchid, so I'm happy to have you guys back here. But yeah, a lot of stuff that happened in that fight, and a lot of stuff that sounds logical, but it always helps when you have someone drawing on a board. So thank you, Namira. Thank you, Dino. And another really good game from GameWard gets them a 2-0 lead. And I must say, I have to call you out on your predictions. Both of you, we said,
he's doing it.
We're doing the full 5 series thing. No, I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, if we want to do it, it's time for the reverse sweepies to reverse sweep or something like that. I mean, X7 really needs to start and wake up. I think GameWard has come to play. That has been obvious. But I think X7 has done some weird stuff in draft where they have a read on how GameWard wants to play, but it's not centered around even the Vi pick of Akabane. But I think that's the biggest issue. You now see a secondary draft come out where Vi is still the main aggressor, but you have follow-up from a Leona and a Seraphine.
I must say, Namira, I don't know how you feel about this, but I had it's a slow start. You know, this could be something good for X7 up until this Rift Herald fight where they get the steal, but they just extend the fight a bit too much.
So we were looking at plays like, oh, we should really break down one of these fights.
Yeah.
We were wondering about this one, and I was sat there like, no, the only reason that fight happens is because X7 take that fight without due setup, and GameWard, they have continued to be more decisive, continue to be really just on point in terms of following up on this. And that's the problem when it comes down to this draft discussion, even though Chasy does get one good fight towards the end of this game. This feels like it's an execution issue rather than the draft issue. I think we do get quite attached to the idea of draft diff because it's quite interesting in our big strategic minds to think about these champions are just better on the other way. But I look at the way that X7 and GameWard are approaching the fights, and GameWard are just far superior at picking the right fights and choosing the right terrain to fight around.
And I think the Seraphine in particular gives a lot of value, and it's only the second time GameWard actually picks up this champion. And now in the hands of Innaxe, it's a champion that sometimes feels like it's a little bit forgotten, but when she gets off her ult, you know, oh yeah, there's a Seraphine in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Seraphine Vi combo is some combo that hasn't been explored enough in pro play meta. I think, as you see,
reminds me of Seraphine Hackerim.
Yeah, it's actually the same, but then you're really gonna hit both ultis 100% because you can't really do anything. You saw in that one clip that we broke down where you just hard engage on the Zeri, you just throw Seraphine ult over it, and you basically shut down one of the carries of X7. And I think the biggest issue for me is that even though Tempt had a better laning phase, they didn't really get that much out of it. Even though you have Chasy not really losing top lane, they also didn't really get that much out of it. So I don't see where X7 is trying to put their focus, while for GameWard it's really clear.
Before you make your point, Amira, because I mean, I also see the draft behind me, is the fact that I saw this jungle matchup, and Akabane was really dominant on the Vi in the first game, and I saw the Trundle being picked up, and I was like, okay, this could be a very good thing for Viking, but I don't really feel like Viking did a lot in this game.
Well, I think about X7 as a team, and yes, they have used winning jungle matchups to control enemy junglers, but typically, Viking has just been supporting his lanes to win harder. That's typically what he's been doing. Just allow them to just, you're already winning lane, you're getting advantages, let's make that a 30 CS lead and a load of turret plates, instead of just the measly kind of 10 CS lead, but not really doing anything with it. I think that's where we're seeing the real caliber of GameWard, where they are really hard to rock across the entire map. Every single lane has been doing very well very early on into the game, and then they have Akabane, who's just doing so much work in making the first instigating plays. I don't think Viking currently has been on the board enough and connected with his lanes enough to make the big power plays to break GameWard early into the game.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add on to that, except like if GameWard goes to the extent of banning Sivir and banning Jarvan so that they can just pick up the Vi and your AD carry can't protect itself and you don't have the Jarvan for the easy engage, I think there is a glaring issue to be fixed. That the disconnect between laners and jungling on the side of X7 has been apparent in this game, and it needs to be fixed if you want to try and get leverage somewhere. Because the gold graphs, we saw an even gold graph and then a huge lead for GameWard. Yeah. Now we saw a slight lead for X7 and a huge lead for GameWard. X7 needs to get more done in the early game.
So I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball in there, because we've seen 2 games of Yuumi now from Kasing, and I don't think this is a bad champion for him. I think that Zeri Yuumi is a good combo, but I don't think it's what X7 need right now, particularly for the early game. You are not going to match early game roam timers from the Amumu in the first game, the Leona in the second game. There's something, again, that you were pointing out before we led into this series. Actually, the champion pool differences historically between these two support players has been Kasing going more towards some kind of enchanters, whereas, you know, you've got Kamilius, who's played a bit more engaged. I think right now, X7 need Kasing on something that can match that level 3 roam up into mid lane, can actually be around the map. Now, we haven't seen all the aggressive plays come through Kamilius getting into lanes, but it's just another problem that X7 have got in terms of cleanly initiating team fights, in terms of cleanly playing out the early game and winning the early game skirmishes. I think the Yuumi's not bringing enough early on into the game.
I think there's a lot of focus here on the bot lane, you know? It's about these 2v2 matchups, how those play out. But I do feel like there's a huge discrepancy in the top side of the map, and we don't necessarily talk too much about it. Don't think we even touched upon the jungle and mid lane matchup in this entire series so far. The only thing we said is like, yeah, Tempt needs to do more. We want to see more from Tempt. And I kind of hope that they can do it in the third game, or else it's going to be a very short series.
I just as an X7 fan, I'm not sure I can stomach another X7 hoping so much for them. Bam, 0-3 in playoffs. Yeah. I'm not sure I can do that for myself, just on like a spiritual level.
Yeah. So thoughts on this? Because X7 have chosen red side, means that they want to go for the counter pick. Where do you think the counter pick is going to end up?
I expected them to keep red side actually for this game as well. I would love them, like on red side.
It is. It's
yeah, well, but for the game that we just passed, but they went for the blue side. The counter pick in red side goes both ways. You can counter top side, or you can last pick on red 3. You can pick a top laner and ban out the Gnar from Melonik and stuff like that. I think they should drop the Aatrox blind pick prio that they went for again. Just make sure that even though Chasy had way bigger impact already this game with one fight, just make sure that he has a lane that he can just play, and that if he makes the same mistake that he has been making where he walks up and gets ganked by the jungler, he's not put out of the game, because that's a big issue for them to fix in draft.
And it's not like Chasy doesn't have other blind picks. Arguably the best blind pick top laner in the game is actually Fiora right now, and Chasy is a huge Fiora player. If you're worried about... So if you go with my suggestion of dropping the Yuumi, and that's dropping some scaling options, some of that ability to turtle and just end up having damage later in the game, you're not reaching that later point of the game right now. Get something that affects the game earlier in your support, and then you can shore that up in your top lane isolated matchup and say Fiora will be our late game win condition instead, especially if Chasy is already playing out the 1v1 lane in the way that we know he is. He's going to be isolated a little more. That would be my solution to their problems.
Isn't it also like an assignment for these players to stop Akabane, maybe ban out of his champion, get rid of the Vi, for example?
I would be a huge fan of just... for X7, it's now time to show up, right? And they need to make sure that GameWard can't do reiterations of the same game plan that's been working 2 games. And Vi is one of those constants that is just on top of Attila every single fight. So Attila can't really do anything because it just has a Vi barreling down on him. So banning the Vi would do a lot to secure, if you get into the mid to late game, which wasn't really happening up until now, that at least Attila can have some better positioning or enjoy the game, because he's not allowed to play League of Legends. He's just sit there in CC Simulator, and that's not helping anyone.
I want to hear a yes or no. 3-0?
You know, there was this one time we were sat up 2-0,
yes or no. Yes or no.
and he said if we really want to prove we're a good team, we've got to make a reverse sweep. No, they're not going to do it, 0-3.
Yeah, I already predicted GameWard. This is one of those days where they're just too strong, and I don't see X7 actually cracking the code.
For now, let's head into Game 3 of the series, which could also be the last one. I'm going to put it out there once again. If GameWard manages to win, Trouble Inc. and Hiprin take it away and stay strong for the NLC.
Someone's got to stay strong for us at this point. Trouble's struggling.
Sorry, I was just a little bit of hopium, man. I needed it before that game.
I mean, like, it's a rough one for NLC fans, and realistically, you know, I think this should have been a tighter series. I think it wasn't completely unfair to expect this to go to 5 games. I don't think that was a bit of bias. I think that was genuinely, these are 2 very good teams. But it feels like GameWard have just been on an upward trajectory since the start of this tournament. They've got that play-ins buff, which they stomped their way through. They went into groups, went undefeated in groups, and now they're looking to stomp their way through play-ins as well. Like, they are just carrying that momentum forward. And remember, at EU Masters, I don't think there's been a single tournament where at least one play-ins team hasn't made it to semi-finals. Like, we always get it.
I'm just going to give the example of K-Corp, who won literally in spring. They came through play-ins, they stomped everyone. Wasn't the NLC, thankfully, this time in the finals.
But the Kasing knocked X7 out last time.
Yeah,
no, it was LDLC.
It was LDLC.
LDLC,
but
LFLT.
the funny thing is that twice that the NLC has gone to the finals, back in 2021 spring, 2021 summer, it was K-Corp who completely stomped them in the finals, and we're like, yay, K-Corp is not here now, it's finally a year. And there's like 4 suddenly LFL teams that are even struggling like, screw it.
Take us out. It's been a hell of a tournament, but X7, you know, they're not out yet. There is that world where they could get reverse sweep. They could run the reverse sweep. Good ban on that Vi. But keep in mind, we were saying it during the NLC finals. X7 are throwing this. This is done. They walked out onto stage. I heard them and their coach just say, let's wrap this up. They were cocky, they were confident, and they got reverse swept. Maybe, and maybe I'm on your hopium a little bit here. Maybe we're going to see that come through here. But Swain is going to be the first pickup here for GameWard, and this was such an effective pickup for them in game number 1. And I think you're right here. This is a really good pick if they go.
Please, Akabane off of the Vi. Get another pick other than Ari into that Swain. Perfect. Lock in. I wanted something a little bit more active, possibly for Viking. I don't know. Lock in your Rek'Sai. Get that Sinzao. I need him to be active on the map. With that Darius, you can actually be active very early on. If you go into a lane of a champion that is very immobile, you can pop the pillar, you can get the flash instantly and capitalize onto that. But right now, I'm seeing GameWard and I'm seeing just a lot of their comfort, right? There's Seraphine, there's Swain coming through, things that have a lot of range as well. So you misstep playing a heavily melee composition that so far X7 have chosen to go for, and I'm expecting Chase is going to be on something like a melee as well. So the only range you're literally going to get is Attila on his AD carry. But so far, again, for GameWard, it's a lot of comfort, and this time Akabane is going to choose to go towards that Wukong.
Yeah.
And let's see how he's going to do through the early game with that, because that's another early game champion that you can dictate the pace of the game with.
I think something like a Sej is also fine here for X7 in the top side. I don't expect this to be a Sejuani in this rotation. I expect to see them actually look at least towards somewhat of the bot lane. But we did see it in that last game where they just ignored bot lane entirely and looked to pick it up in that second phase. And they're actually looking towards the Ezreal here.
I don't like that.
I'm with you.
I don't like that. This is okay. Okay, I'll explain why I don't like that. This is an Attila special. He's Ezreal. He's infamous for his Ezreal. He played it at Worlds. He played it over when he was in EU LCS. This is his champion. Why I don't particularly like it is because when X7 was going through some really rough patches over in the NOC, it would either be the Senna or the Ezreal that Attila would resort to so they can play through the other side of the map. And usually when it's not Attila on a heavy AD carry that scales into that late game, X7 really did struggle through these games. So if Tempt here doesn't pop off on the Sylas, if Chasy doesn't pop off in whatever pick he's going to get, which I'm assuming is going to be the R5 and the counter pick, this could be really rough for Attila to try and carry that through with that Ezreal. Also, Kasing hasn't been the best on melee roaming champions. His best champions have usually traditionally been these enchanters.
Yes.
His Zillions, his Renatas, his Lulus, his Yumis. And right here, usually when you have an Ezreal, you want to dump him down in that bot lane and then just start roaming the map, which might be the case for X7. It's a good switch up.
No, it is. I will raise a concern I'm seeing for the side of GameWard at the moment, though, is there's quite a lot of AP here. So they need to find some AD damage in this team. That's probably my major criticism, was what we saw actually punish X7 versus LDLC in their first loss of the tournament. Final man's going to be that Nautilus coming through, and obviously the Yuumi as well from the side of GameWard. Let's see what they're going to pick up here. Could just go towards that support. You could just come at Ez and just have like perma pressure in the bot side if you want to do that.
You can go something like the Zillion as well and start roaming them up with Zoomies. The Rakan is also a pretty good pick. A lot of engage, a lot of disengage, a lot of utility coming from the champion as well. Fits in the narrative as well with Ezreal, you know, dashing forward, and then Rakan follows up and gets that very long range engage. So I do like the Rakan right here. Means that Kasing will finally be on a roaming champion, something other than the Yuumi, and we might see some action towards the top side of the map. Of course, we're a little bit heavily focusing on X7 right here because it's X7 that have to change the way they play if they want to win. GameWard are still picking the champions, they're still playing the game. Kamilius in game 1 on the Amumu tore apart the entire map. Whoever he queued ended up dying, so we're putting a little bit of magnifying glass on X7 to see what they have as a reply.
This would be one hell of a way to knock X7 out of the tournament with the Aatrox.
I like that. I like that, or something like a Yone even.
Something you kind of really throw the gauntlet down. And Chasy, who had a pretty good tail end to that final game, you know, he made the plays that actually extended that game and kind of kept them in for a little bit longer. On that Aatrox, they're knocking them out with it, knocking the pick that he has favored so much during this tournament. But he is going to be switching up, going for that Jayce here. It could actually be a switch between the Sylas and Jayce, but they are going to put the Jayce in the top side for Chasy.
Okay.
You're humming, so I want to get your thoughts.
I don't think it would ever be the case because Tempt doesn't play AD champions.
Oh, yes, of course, yes. How could I forget?
I think we put that to rest by now. And also Sylas is a Tempt style of champion. And of course Chasy coming from the LCK, Jayce, Fiora, Yone, Aatrox are his champions, these heavy fighters. Now, what I'm really worried about this is because usually if poke comps fall behind in the early game, then they do not have much power.
Yes.
And right here, again, you're playing poke champs with a Trundle and a Sylas. Half of them want to go in, half of them want to play the distance, but you're also playing poke into someone like a Seraphine who can heal it up or can shield it. Into someone like an Aatrox who's playing Eclipse. He's got that lifesteal in there. So I think it's a little harder to execute from the side of X7. GameWard again, they've got their game. They've got Melonik on one of his comfort champions, the Aatrox. They've got that Swain that literally gave them the victory, and X7 had to ban in that second game because he was being a nuisance. And I think it's up to X7 to disrupt whatever plans GameWard have.
I'm hoping they can, not because I'm NLC biased. I just want more games. I just want more games. I feel like we're being teased if it's going to be a quick 2-0. But we are getting onto the Rift for game number 3. Match point over to GameWard. Can they knock out the NLC second seed here. X7 had a almost flawless run in Group B during the groups, but LDLC quickly put a stop to them. And it looks like, actually, they might be setting up. Everybody collapsing from the side of X7. Tempt jumps in. They've got a knock up, and oh no! Tempt is down! Innaxe able to find the kill, and X7 are crumbling. The flashes coming out galore as Czekolad flashes forwards, and now he's chasing onto Chasy. Only Attila and Tempt hold their flash at the end of the day.
This is doomed, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be a Jayce that wants to really shove Aatrox in the early game, melee into range. You want to bully the Aatrox around before he hits that level 6 mark. You can't do that right now. You have no flash. And again, we see that level 1. Quite clever from X7, but I think the fact that Chasy moves that far forward and doesn't allow Melonik to walk towards the top side of the map kind of gave away what X7 wanted to do right there. The second that Tempt also face checks with the Sylas. He's diving into 5 members melee range from the side of GameWard.
I think he realized the mistake when he slid in and saw another person in the bush. Went, oh, there's a team here. Okay,
Tempt was like, call an ambulance. But GameWard was like, but not for us. Yeah, no. But this is quite doomed right here because
it's only 1 kill, but it's a lot of flashes.
The most important thing is the fact that Chasy does not have his flash up and available. You want to play through that top side of the map. This is why you got Rakan. This is why you've got the Sylas. This is why you've got the Trundle. You need to get that top side of the map rolling. We saw what Chasy could do when he started getting a few resets on his Aatrox in the previous game. Attila right now is stuck on an Ezreal. He's not going to be as much of a hyper carry as he usually is with the likes of Sivir, with the likes of Zeri. Right here, Attila has taken a secondary role, and Chasy needs to be the one carrying, but Chasy right now, with no flash, is going to be stuck underneath his tower, getting pushed by an Aatrox, and I think for this situation to turn around, Viking's going to have to be extremely active on the map. He's going to try to find that hit. Some picks, he's looking around that mid lane. They have found Czekolad. Czekolad doesn't have a flash either, so if Tempt does land the chain through the pillar.
Oh, he's got it. They're in with the CC. The Vision of Empire helps a little bit, but Czekolad goes down. Viking, for the first time this series, plays proactively and rewards his team.
We just asked for this, right? The only one who can turn this unfortunate chain of events around is Viking. You've got the Trundle, go and punish the lanes without the flash. Which is the most immobile lane without a flash? It is that Swain. Get onto that mid lane. Czekolad was trying to crash in his wave. He hits that pillar, the chain lands as well. Very well played right there. Get that kill onto the Trundle as well. Get him beefy. So, pretty good start right here, equalizing the score. Kind of even in gold as well, if you will. But my biggest sort of spying glass that I'm going to put on the map right now is the first reset from the support. Because Kamilius, every single time he's reset, he's taking a stroll through that mid lane around Czekolad, trying to find a flash, trying to find a target to make Tempt's life really miserable.
Oh, there's to get a good knock up. Oh, Kamilius. Lots of shielding though when you've got that Seraphine, so.
And all these minions that don't allow the Qs to come forward from Attila's Ezreal. Not much burnt other than the ignite from the side of Kasing, but Kamilius right here sitting with both of his summoners. Akabane again on the prey.
Chasy, he's going to be in trouble, pulled in by the Infernal Chains. He can bop one away, but not the other. Just about able to get enough movement with the phase rush out to safety. Chasy.
Aren't you
maybe
happy
flashless, but he's able to live.
Are you not happy that this was not a Vi, Chasy? Because if that was a Vi, most likely Chasy was going to be dead on this Jayce. But nevertheless, he does have his teleport to get back into lane, but still a big gap in time until he has his flash up and available. And again, you're picking the Jayce into the Aatrox. You're picking the Jayce to counter the Aatrox, to make his life miserable. That flash level 1 has cost you your laning phase so far.
Yeah, it was a really, really rough one for them as Czekolad not caught out by the pillar, but slowed, able to get the grab on the Tempt. Now Tempt's in range to chase on. Czekolad knocked up and Tempt takes him down. Meanwhile, Akabane had found Viking, and Viking will fall to the monkey bot.
So, the solo bolo from Akabane, but a kill goes over to Tempt as well, and Czekolad has been deprived of a lot of experience and gold in the mid lane. He's already 400 gold down. The kill went over to Tempt as well, trying to get that Sylas rolling. We saw what happened last game when Czekolad was actually on the Sylas and the Sylas got rolling. It's a hard scaling champion and a very dangerous one for this late game. So X7 have found their win condition, and they've also found the player that they want to punish the most from the other side. It is Czekolad. He did also lose his flash level 1, and X7 so far have capitalized twice on that.
Really, really clean stuff here as teleport coming in from Innaxe, joining in on the bot side of the action. Top side, we're going to see Melonik just TP up. Teleport's being thrown down galore. We'll have a look at this fight in the mid lane, and kind of what went wrong for Viking. He just didn't commit with the rest of the team.
I kind of love this here. Tempt gets, unfortunately, a tower shot. But you're kind of right. I think he's trying to, but then he kind of doesn't want to commit because there's a pillar, and then he will start taking a lot of damage if he tried to get through the choke point, because there was a wave coming as well. It was a very... I think it was a very unfortunate situation that he was caught in. But Czekolad, yes, Flash.
He is getting mega bullied right now. As it's actually quite interesting because you were talking to me in between the games about the matchup between Tempt and Czekolad and how Czekolad's just absolutely dominating this matchup. It feels like Tempt's finally had enough, and he's just coming back and looking to get into the action, into the thick of it, and deny Czekolad from actually joining this game.
I think that was about time, actually, because Tempt, if not the best, he was one of the most stable mid laners we have over in the NLC. The guy did not lose lane. It's not that he would stomp you, but he would come out of lane, ahead in CS, you would be shoved underneath your tower, and he'd be the first one to roam. And honestly, it's been a pretty disappointing series from him this far. And now that he's having a better series, it's been the mid-jungle duo that's enabled that. It's Viking also being a little bit more proactive, playing towards the mid lane, enabling Tempt, giving him them kills, getting the kills for himself, and also grabbing that first dragon. I think it's X7 that have finally woken up and want to play a little bit more proactively in that early game.
Yeah, you're completely right there. It's a game again, even though there's been a lot of action, typical of what we've seen from this series. These teams are playing fairly kind of respectful to one another. They want to get that time under their belt, although, you know, when you look on the other side, X7 don't have, you know, that infinite scaling, like, well, not infinite, but, you know, that hard scaling which we typically were seeing. Obviously, Ezreal does spike on, like, the 2 items, and the 3 items as well can be a big step forward for him, but realistically, it's not like a Zeri. He just kind of, once that 3 item comes in, every item just makes it even stronger and even stronger. You just want to get into late game with it. I'm curious what the late game is going to look like, because there's not as much scaling comparatively to our first 2 games of this series.
Yeah, that is true. Although on the side of GameWard, you do have an Aatrox that's going to be getting shielded and healed by the Seraphine later on, and Viking again.
Bit of revenge. No! He failed the flash! Into the wall he slams, and down the Herald shall go. Chasy's been zoned out at top side as well. This is just a freebie.
I think that we mentioned how doomed it was, that top side of the map. The fact that you have 0 priority through Chasy is really hurting the entirety of the map.
Yeah.
Because they know that if Akabane shows towards the top side of the map, he has teammates, he has that access into the river, and that his teammates will respond first, no matter what, towards the top side of the map. And this is where Akabane has also gotten his kills, right? Viking right now, 1 and 2. He's been picked on again. He's been more proactive, yes. But I think throughout the series, we've seen Viking overreach for vision without necessarily having the required information to walk in the river, knowing where your opponent jungler is, knowing if you have priority through your lanes or not. And he's been capitalized upon and then giving freely, again, kills over to Akabane. Akabane has had very close to 100% kill participation the entire series.
Yeah, he's been super active. Super, super active this game. Like, I mean, this series, he's been a key tool for this team, and it feels like Viking finally actually doing a similar thing to what Akabane has been doing in this series. The big problem is those first 2 games, the Vi just completely stopped anything Viking wanted to do. It was all about shutting Attila down. It was playing for that bot side. This time, Attila playing something with a bit of mobility, kind of leaning away from the likes of the Zeri and stuff like that, and instead going towards that Ezreal.
Akabane has found in the river Tempt, if I'm not wrong. But Akabane does have 4 members from GameWard on the bot side of the map. And again, unfortunately, Ezreal is stuck underneath the tower trying to cue the waves away. I think top lane is a very small wound right now that is going to start opening more and more and more as the game goes on. The fact that your Aatrox is not even, is ahead in gold, someone that scales so hard into the late game. Who's going to stop this menace on a side lane later on?
Yeah.
Because Sylas is not going to be the one. Chasy, definitely this Jayce is not going to be the one. And also we mentioned how if a poke composition falls behind, your poke is not a poke anymore. It's like a little poke, I guess, with a toothpick, if you will. It's not gonna hurt. And even if it does hurt, Seraphine can just heal it all up. So we have a lot of beefy targets with lifesteal, the Wukong and the Aatrox. You've got Swain, who has a lot of HP in his kit anyway. And then you've got Seraphine that can shield and heal up all of that poke coming in. So for X7, they need to start accelerating the game a little bit and maybe getting that Jayce ahead. And Viking does have the right idea, but he's 2 levels down on this Aatrox.
Yeah, he is. He's not really going to be getting himself into any of the action right now as Akabane has found Viking. He's got himself the Herald, and Viking, flashless still, will probably just be picked up here. Maybe Chasy can save the day. Maybe Chasy and Tempt can do something as the demonic ascensions come in. Kasing looking for the knock-up, unable to get it. Kamilius jumps in and will lock them all down. X7 fall apart as a double kill goes over to Czekolad.
Yeah, 11 minutes in, and the entirety of GameWard are on the top side of the map. We talked about how their macro is extremely clean. What do? They rotate Innaxe again to that mid lane because they focus towards pushing Czekolad towards the top side of the map, trying to get the numbers advantage on a team fight. And if they do need Innaxe from the mid lane, he's also in close proximity to join them as well. So not only are they going to get 3 kills, because Kasing died as well in their pocket, they're going to get the entirety of mid lane tower together with tower platings.
They get the charge.
Melonik is completely left on his own device towards the top side to get even more tower platings. It's going to be a very rich GameWard. And again, Akabane, I think he's had Viking's number the entirety of that series. He finds him in the jungle. Viking does not have a flash. Very nice rearrangement of the route right there from Czekolad as well to hit Viking. And once Tempt goes in with the Swain ult, suddenly they're outnumbered.
And that stopwatch from Czekolad as well, just to avoid getting caught in that knockup. X7 though are going to turn their attention now towards this dragon, picking up the second dragon of the game. But look at that jungle difference, 2,000 gold lead over Akabane. And like, he's got his Divine Thunderer. On the other side, Viking's got a Balmy Cinder. Like, he's so far behind. It's unbelievable. And actually, when we do look at the items, we can see it really tells the tale of this game. Czekolad has his Crystal Scepter. Tempt sitting on components. Hasn't even got close yet to finishing up his Mythic. You know, yeah, Attila has an item, but that's a cheap item. The Manamine is a cheap item. There's Leandri's onto Innaxe. Like, items are there right now for the side of GameWard.
And it's getting even more sad because X7 usually rely on Attila to outplay these fights later on, the likes of Xerxes and Civius and Hyperscale and AD carries. Right now, he's stuck on Ezreal. And yes, he's Ezreal. He's known for that champion, but oh my god, GameWard!
Oh no, they're caught out by the monkey spin. In comes Kasing.
Oh!
The charm on the back end of the fight from Innaxe. Sails Tempt down the river as he will fall, and Viking will be quick to follow him there. GameWard find 2 kills, and Innaxe teleports in to make sure Attila can't take more.
Oh man, I knew I should have brought 2 tanks of Hopium for this particular best of series, because the LFL, I'm just gonna say it, is absolutely stomping the NLC right now. GameWard have put their foot down the gas, and they've not let go since game number 1. X7, we said that top side of the map does not belong to you because Chasy has been a bleeding wound since level 1 when he lost his flash. Real beautiful ult right there from Innaxe. Extends also since he hits their first target. So unfortunately for Viking, he hits him too and he ends up getting CC'd and dying. But right now, this is a 4,000 gold lead, 14 only minutes in, and you see how the poke from Jayce barely scratches Melonik. 1 level up in the top lane, 1 level up in the jungle. The top side of the map is really starting to bleed more and more for the side of X7. And I think if you want to play towards the top side, you probably need your Ezreal there. You need all your forces.
Kasing's coming up, hasn't been spotted by the ward. The true shot collapses in. Melonik loses quite a lot of HP and is just going to dash away. Kamilius going to give themselves up, but they know that the fight is already done on that side. Rift Herald is up, and actually, that's some pressure now for X7 on that Herald, so Akabane is going to be the one to start it up, mind you. X7 really do not want to be giving up the second Herald of this game. They already lost mid tower 1 and a charge onto tier 2 in the mid. And it just looks like X7, they're not doing it.
I mean, I'm just going to show here that Attila is on the bot side of the map. He's pushing the tower while the rest of his team is kind of like scattered around, which means that they're going to give up. They're going to give up the Rift Herald. And again, they're shoving money into Attila's pocket. This is your win con right here. The fact that Attila can pop off on that Ezreal to win you the team fights later on, but like team fighting for GameWard seems to be so much easier with the Seraphine and the Swain stopping any engage.
I'll give you that. He is 1,000 gold up over
a Seraphine though.
But,
Innaxe is not really the carry.
But Akabane has a 2,500 gold over Viking. Chasy down almost 1,000 gold himself. Mid up 1,000 gold for Czekolad. Like it is just all GameWard. And yes, there's 1,000 gold lead on the Ezreal, but that's not enough right now. And what it's costing his team on the map is bigger than what Attila is gaining on the other side. Yes, he took a tower, but that doesn't really buy any pressure because mid's already down. Mid tier 2, very low. Herald in the pocket of Akabane. They can use this to crack open the base if they want.
And what is very important to look at right now is the stopwatches that are in the inventory. As you can see, there is one on Akabane, there is also one on Kamilius. These are the two engaged champions for the Son of GameWard, and in a minute's time, there's going to be a dragon fight for sure for GameWard. You
100%.
do not want to be giving Soul Point over to X7 because they will instantly turn this into a win con for themselves.
Yeah.
And Infernal Soul is going to be huge, especially since every Q hit from Ezreal will be hitting like an Infernum from an Attila. So right here, X7 will try to regain some control. They have to gain some control because in 45 minutes, the struggle will spawn.
Oh, yeah, seconds, not minutes.
So, sure.
Oh no, Kasing!
Oh no, Kasing!
He's able to get away. They get the shot blast, but Czekolad flashes into everybody, catching them out. Kasing has to use the stopwatch to dodge away. The charm connects onto Jayce. Kasing pops the charm, able to turn it around and find himself one for the team, but it's two for the side of GameWard. Vikings low.
Jayce?
They got the teleport coming in. It's actually Tempt coming in onto the side. He's got his own demonic ascension. Akabane has been caught as they look to chase onto Innaxe. Akabane is able to get away, but no, the burn from the Leandries will save the day. Tempt's chasing with the chain lash in. He's found Czekolad as Melonik is getting the damage onto him, though it's so close. Czekolad's bleeding out. Tempt fights the shutdown. Tempt is slowed down as Melonik able to find the kill. Now going for Viking. Attila and Innaxe are in the middle of a fight as Attila's able to find himself the kill. Maybe he can save his jungler. It looks like Vikings okay. X7 hold fast.
And Attila has TP. He's gonna go all the way back, reset, get that HP bar, regen, and he's gonna TP back for that dragon. There's only two members, and one of them has no ultimate. It is Melonik in that mid lane. You'll see Attila will TP in for this dragon, and X7 will get themselves win con on that dragon. We might be in for a game here, Brain, because X7 are showing some signs of life, and as we see this again, you said like a Kasing actually. I don't know who he's on Blasco right there. He might have been Chasy actually, but oh, Chasy. Absolute betrayal right there, but Czekolad flashes forward and GameWard will get over eager because they're ahead. We've seen this before. They'll dive the tower and a beautiful last second ultimate from Kasing will charm them and the tower. And while all of this is happening, Tempt has the time to TP behind them and get that Swain ult. Now, of course, Attila is going to focus on Innaxe, but Innaxe has a lot of shields, speed up, slows to throw towards Attila's way. And right here, Viking and Tempt completely overextend right here. You've won the fight. There is no TP on this Aatrox. There is no TP onto this Swain. Stop right here. Go towards that dragon. Get that dragon for yourself. But in the end, it's going to be the 1v1 exchange underneath that tower. And Attila also managed to win on the AD carry battle, if you will.
Only just about, all things considered. The Riftail charge actually stopped as well, but yeah, 3,000 gold in the jungle between Viking and Akabane as Czekolad is going to finish up his Leandries. I'm going to say, though,
props to Viking. He's even in levels. It's level 10 to level 10 when you're 3,000 gold down. Take notes, because Akabane has been on freaking fire this series. So, any aspiring junglers? He's one to look at, for sure. But talking about the 3,000 gold onto that Wukong, the Wukong is one of these champions where he's not necessarily too tanky yet. His HP bar is not that beefy yet, which means that Attila could end up turning him down. And Attila, who has no flash, by the way, and he's just chilling in the mid lane.
Oh, he's just able to get away. Akabane has caught him, though. Attila needs to land a couple more Qs before he can get out. But no, the CC will pin him in place. They throw a teleport in as well, just to rub salt in the wound as Czekolad's here. maybe the attention is actually towards the Baron. They don't have the fastest one because they don't have a traditional lady carry, mind you.
That's another overextend right there from Attila. He's making the same play in the mid lane over and over again, and GameWard are ready to punish. Now, if Melonik shows up on that wave, I don't know if actually Jayce and Viking can kill him. It's level 14, Aatrox level 10 onto that Trundle. He's 4 levels down, 6 levels up onto Kasing's Rakan. This Aatrox can legit 1v3 at this point.
Well, we're about to see, I think, because they're looking and they're thinking about it. Czekolad stealing away a blue buff as Tempt flashes forward, catches him out with the chain lash for now. Both the ultimates have been popped here as Tempt is trying to survive as long as possible, but Tempt is going low. He's sustaining up for a little bit more. In comes Chasy. The true shot barrage is there. They get the stopwatch off for the moment. Tempt's holding fast. He's trying to get himself the kill. Just able to do so. Now he's turning intentionally onto the side of Melonik as Innaxe is just burning him down with his shields. Melonik finds a double kill. Like you said, level 14 on that Aatrox. He is scary.
My mind is blown. Tempt tries to go for the 1 versus 1, but there's TP advantages on the rest of the map for the set of GameWard, and Innaxe chose to TP into this fight, but Attila didn't, even though he did have that teleport. I didn't necessarily see where Attila was on the map, but there was a deficit right there in the teleports. Attila doesn't join, Innaxe does, so the numbers advantage goes over to GameWard, and you can see how much damage and how much sustainability the Sylas does have. So did he have one more teammate right there? We could potentially see one of these crazy caps moments on Sylas where he just suddenly like 1v3s. But then again, it is a win for GameWard and the 4,000 gold still in the lead. Now, of course, there is one win condition for X7 on the map, and this is going to be the Infernal Soul, which is going to help a lot since you're playing a poke comp. Getting that splash damage and that extra damage onto your poke is going to be huge to try and siege GameWard right
look
here.
at Attila's damage already onto one. Kasing finds himself caught out by Kamilius, able to flash away from that chain there, from the bandage toss. Just able to avoid out. 57 seconds until the Infernal Soul. X7, they're bringing Chasy down. They've got a nice shove on that top side, and X7, they want to go for this.
You need to have Jayce and Attila there because that's exactly what they need to do. They need to poke down members of GameWard to the point where if GameWard walks too far forward and gets caught by Rakan or something like a Sylas, they end up dying. So using your Jayce.
What an encore from Innaxe already! They've got Attila. It's all on Chasy. Viking flashes out. Czekolad coming in. A double kill for Innaxe. A beautiful encore as Melonik makes sure that Chasy will not survive. He's just able to get out, but Tempt will go down. Holy moly, what an ult from Innaxe.
X7 end up face checking after they pulled Chasy from the top lane and get instantly punished by the LFL's 4th seed, and Viking thinks he's safe, but they line them up. There's so much to see. You knew they were there. X7 are making crucial mistakes that are going to cost them the game. That was their win con, and now it's been extended by another 5 minutes from the side of GameWard. Unfortunately, Tempt not strong enough to 1 versus 4.
Attila has just popped as well at the beginning of the fight. You know, they've been funneling gold into this man. He is the guy for the side of X7, but he just goes immediately. He's just dead, he's out, he's gray screened. And then from there, it's what is the win condition for X7? There isn't one. Because like you said, they need to poke, they need to set up for the fights, and getting ever harder for them. Yes, Attila is 3.5 items in onto the Ezreal. Yes, he does do a lot of damage. We've seen how much he can do to Innaxe with a single Q. That's not even
you
what
don't
the
do
essence
damage
like.
if you face check your brain.
But you don't do damage if, you don't do damage if you're dead. That is literally at its core. And it was a massive fumble there by X7, and they got punished just instantly. And this has been the crucial difference between these two teams in these series. GW are so on it. They just know exactly how to play the game, and they are playing very connected. Their comms are just super clear, and they're very clear goals.
I think they're just very consistent. Yeah. They know that X7 are going to make mistakes because you know what? X7 have been set behind from level 1. For X7 to win this game, they have to go above and beyond. They have to overreach. The second X7 tries to overreach, game will cut their hands off. Yeah. Because they have the easier to execute comp, and they're also scaling into the late game. I just want to say that this level 16 Aatrox, who has barely joined any fights so far, if he does join fights and catches anyone from the side of X7, they're just going to disappear.
And Melonik's Aatrox is probably the one who benefited the most from Innaxe killing the mid. It was 1 kill, but it was 4 flashes, and that gave him all the pressure in that top side versus Chasy, and he just hasn't been punished.
Oh, no.
So now he's ahead, and kamilius is looking for it. He's going to go for the Curse of the Sad Money, and now goes Viking. The charm does only connect onto Kasing, but Kasing's able to jump away to safety, but Melonik's looking to run him down. Oh my word, the burst is huge as 2 members are down.
What have you got? This is a Jayce that's not very powerful. You've got Attila onto the Ezreal who can actually poke, but everything's going to get healed up because all of the HP bars are pretty beefy right now from GameWard, and the only thing you can hope for is maybe a steal from a Q from Attila.
Maybe. They have a bit of poke as well to work with from Chasy and Attila, but it doesn't do anything here. The True Shot Barrage gonna come for a couple of members. The Tempt has to stop much in the middle of everyone. Chasy's able to find a kill on the 2-1. He's got himself a double. He's holding fast. He's got himself the triple kill. Chasy's going for it. Melonik has to flash away, dodging out, but the Infernal Chains are gonna catch on to Chasy. He's caught out by Akabane. Sends him packing. Sends him back as Chasy is looking for the monkey. That's gonna be it from Attila. The snipe is there. They're going for the teleport out. Melonik's out. X7 somehow do it again. They find themselves a team fight.
We have been pointing our fingers on Tempt the entire series. He hasn't been performing. He's been overextending. He's been getting caught, but right here he saves his team from certain death. Puts his body forward and shuts down anyone from GameWard. But let's see them again, because Viking has been the target for GameWard. You take off the smite, you can go straight into this Baron. Really nice plan from Melonik to stop any disengage and escape from Kasing, and they've suddenly made this a 3 versus 5, but there's no ultimates from the side of GameWard, and even though kamilius is a pretty good flank on the side right there, you see that Tempt does not care about this Amumu. He'll dive in, he has the ultimate from the survivability from the Swain as well, and actually these HP bars started melting once Attila started hitting them, and Chasy on this Jayce also coming alive, but again
Tempt's hero sacrifice.
So freaking well played to keep 3 members at bay whilst Chasy and Attila were doing the damage from the backline completely untouched this entire time. And mind you, there were a lot of shutdowns that were given away to the 2 main carries from the side of X7. Chasy, Attila. Suddenly Attila, 4 items, 3.5 on this Jayce. Now the poke is going to start hurting.
Yes, now it's definitely going to start to stick. Like you said, 4 items on Attila as well. He's got that Ravenous Hydra, so he has that AoE kind of splash on the Qs as well. He's got the slows from the Shereldas. It is getting scary. Dragon spawning up soon, so both these teams are gearing up for the fight.
And if you look on the minimap as well, X7 actually have the wave. Bot lane wave is pushing. They shoved in that mid lane wave as well, which means that the first ones to get in the Riven and take complete control. Look at kamilius towards the bot side of your screens though, because he's lurking and he's looking. If he gets a huge ult, everyone from GameWard is going to pile up on him.
He's not revealed himself yet. Tempt's actually going to check for
he's going to find him.
He might steal the ultimate. This is a really good ult for him to get. Gets kamilius flash. That is huge. Being down. Melonik.
Wait, what?
Whoa, Chasy! Finally getting some revenge. Melonik just loses his entire health bar.
They know where Akabane
but they're not doing it. Teleport's coming in from behind as well. Chasy going in for the zone. They're going to lock them down. They're able to find it. This might just be the target. Attila is down. Huge. They get the charm onto everyone as well. Innaxe saves the day for the side of GW. The dragon is denied.
And GameWard, again, Akabane on a ward. He was on vision behind the pit, and Attila was standing right in front of him over that wall. Guess what Wukong does? He loves jumping through walls and absolutely demolished Attila. The second Attila is down, the fight is over. Your carry is dead. And Tempt, in another attempt right here to try and shut down GameWard,
he's
found
doing
Czekolad.
a lot. Czekolad! Where does health bar go?
Oh,
It's gone.
some a little bit of a tax, I guess, for whatever's been going on.
There's just a bit of, it feels like these kills have got some real spite in them from X7. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get you. Look at the damage to Melonik.
But again,
Bam.
please do pay attention on that ward behind your screen, because it spots Akabane from the get-go, and kamilius actually. And here goes Attila trying to poke them. He literally stands in front of an Amumu, and a Wukong gets completely destroyed instantly. That means X7 can only disengage, and then GameWard, once they're upon them, they're just gonna run them down. Luckily for X7, 3 members got away, but again, your win con gets extended another 5 minutes. GameWard have stopped this dragon back to back. But also very importantly, because this dragon happened, because 2 kills went down for the side of GameWard, they've also stopped the siege with the Baron that X7 took.
Yeah, and actually, GameWard are now 8 minutes off a soul win condition for themselves, but Viking, he is going low. They get a whole lot of damage off into Melonik. He stopwatches to make sure he's not going to get caught out. Wow, Attila's damage is just phenomenal now. The True Shot Barrage goes a little bit wide, and Akabane has to be careful because Chasy hunting for him. And at this point, you have a lot of damage coming out from Attila and Chasy. That poke is very much online right now. But the weakness is if they can't get that poke, then they will just lose the fight. As Tempt actually
and
does
look at
get
X7.
caught by Melonik a little bit.
They see Czekolad on the tops of the map. Melonik has no TP.
Oh, look at the CC! Everyone's caught out. Attila is not going to be able to save anybody here as he is jumping away. Kamilius is hunting him down. Attila does have a flash. He has to get over the wall, but he can't do so. Jumps away for now. Still got that flash. Flashes away, but Innaxe will finish him up. Both of the damage dealers are down. It is Tempt and Viking to hold versus GW.
And remember who it was that has saved X7 from sticky situations back-to-back? It's Tempt. Who was keeping Tempt busy in the bot lane? It was Melonik. Yes, Tempt casting on a huge shutdown on Melonik, getting that first death on the board for him, but his team got completely wiped because he wasn't there. They need that Sylas to be there from the side of X7 to hold that frontal. GameWard are going to run them down. That's exactly what they did in this team fight. They're going to take that fight. They're going to take the 3 kills. They're going to take that middle inhibitor as well. And Tempt might be looking to chase down as well. 3 seconds, Chasy has TP.
He's chasing, but he's not going to connect or commit. Just forces GW away. Baron's going to be up in just under a minute. We've got 2 minutes until that Infernal comes up. Again, X7 have been on soul point for the last 2 dragons. They are going to get pressure here on this top side of the map, and it looks like the attention will go towards this objective. True Shot Barrage was thrown down by Attila, so he's going to be able to push through this mid wave.
Yeah, and as we'll see here again, kamilius again on this Amumu has been so good. Oh my god, Innaxe! That was 2 CCs thrown from 2 sides, and you couldn't sidestep neither of them because they were so perfectly aligned that they would cross in the center. GameWard are showing off in this particular series. Now, I was wondering if we can really quickly look at the Aatrox. I'm not sure when he purchased that. Oh, he does have the Guardian Angel, so he purchased it right after he died. Thank you so much, observers. Tempt managed to 1v1 the Aatrox, so that's a good showing from the side of X7, but Melonik now has that GA, so you have to, unfortunately, if you're X7, kill him twice. And there's a GA on the Monkey, there's a GA onto the Aatrox, there's Hourglass onto Czekolad, there's a stopwatch onto Innaxe, which means these fights will drag way too long. And can X7 get a kill over there? You need to have Jayce around, you need to have Attila on the Ezreal around to start poking down the targets before you move in for a team fight. For GameWard, they're looking for another overstep, they're looking for another mistake. And kamilius has been so spot on with finding the Qs, finding the engages.
He'll catch onto Viking. I don't think they're thinking about it yet, but everybody's jumping in. Czekolad's been caught. They do jump in. Attila able to get away from Akabane, and so's Chasy. That's 1 kill picked up on the side of X7. They're onto the mummy. They do lock them down, though, with a curse of the stand mummy. What a true shot! Kasing catches everyone, and X7 finally gets some revenge on DW. Melonik goes down, and Baron is on the cards. Soul is on the cards, and X7 finally get a firm grip on this game.
What a great fight from X7, and Kasing finding the opening with his sick engage. We're talking about a misstep from the side of X7, how quick GameWard is at capitalizing, but Melonik, he takes 1 extra step and instantly gets punished right there, has to dash out. The Czekolad gets actually pillared from Viking, and that ultimate from Innaxe misses for the first time in the entire game, which means that X7 get the team fight that could save the... Oh my god! That was nasty from Kasing. And not only do they get this fight, they'll get to open mid lane tower, they'll get to take the soul, and from what I saw, they actually pulled away from the Baron. I think this is the wise thing to do. You have that Infernal Soul on you right now, your poke is going to hurt like hell. Go back, cash in on the items that you just got from all these shutdowns, from all these kills, and get into this fight with 5 items on every single one of your carries. Kasing!
Oh, Kasing, he's able to just about avoid Czekolad, but he's been caught. The encore connects. Chasy on that flank. Kasing's able to jump away. No. How? He's not getting away.
Okay, that passive from Innaxe's Seraphine literally saved the day right there from GameWard because he had it stacked up, so that auto-attack really hurt together with the burn coming in from Czekolad. But Kasing was the one that got an insane triple knock-up, and right here GameWard with the numbers advantage. I think X7 can
Oh, they've caught Chasy. Chasy's on his own. He's slowed down as well. Instantly goes in for the flash. Attila's on that flank. Viking is down. Kamilius has lost a lot of HP, and Attila now has that true shot barrage. Tempt can poke. True shot comes down. Chips through a whole bunch of them. They're all going very, very low now as Tempt looking to jump in. Caught out for the moment. Keeping his tempo up for the moment. He's got himself on the Czekolad. Able to take him down. Kamilius is low HP. The encore will just about avoid on the 2-1 as he's able to get himself a kill, but is returned out by Melonik. X7 just about denying that Baron over to the side of GW.
There's one thing that's very annoying when you're playing against a poor composition, and that's doing Baron. Bunching up your members in a very tight spot where all of these skill shots are going to hit from Attila and Chasy is so dangerous, and we saw it right there. Tempt again puts his body forward for his team, for Attila and Chasy to put down the hurt, to put down the poke. And let's watch this one more time because Kasing steps somewhere where he shouldn't be, and his lens ran out right before he was about to walk into that bush and check out Czekolad. But again, really well played right there from GameWard. They know that X7 overextend for vision the entire series, and they've capitalized on that. And right here, you still have 4 members. Push down mid, try to create a win condition for yourself. Do not put yourself in the quadrant where you don't have any vision. That's exactly what X7 did, and GameWard really quick on the trigger right there to try and punish them. Viking dies again. He's become the humanoid of the EU Masters, I believe.
Do you know what really sad thing is Chasy burnt flash as well. So, like, he survived that just about and was able to kind of put some damage in for the team, but at the end of the day, his big problem was he now doesn't have flash for another 5 minutes. So it's going to be hard for them to do this again. Tempt is phenomenal. He's doing such a good job of keeping these fights going for X7, but how many more mistakes can X7 make? Because it feels like, you know, a lot of these fights, that has a lot of damage. A lot of these fights are X7 making a mistake and then GW overextending and getting a little greedy post-mistake.
Now, here's the thing. Look on the map. Chasy is all the way down that bot lane. He's going to actually TP. He needs to be there. If they want to start Baron, Chase needs to be there. He needs to be putting down the herd, and right now he's going to TP into the mid lane tower. 5 items. GA. There's no GA on the side of GameWard. There's only 2 stopwatches, 2 hourglasses, sorry, on Czekolad and Innaxe.
Oh, no. Tempt is on his own. He has no vision. He has no team. He's going to get himself caught out. Trying to avoid as much as possible. Tempt is just able to get away. He's so scary, to be fair. He's terrifying. He's got stopwatch. He has banshees. He has his ultimate available.
5 items, and he's level 18.
He's stacked. How do you actually go versus him right now without, you know, him really making a mistake?
So right here, X7 and GameWard are playing with that mid lane wave. Very important. If you want to go towards that Baron, you need to be controlling that mid lane wave, but you also need to be controlling the vision behind enemy lines. And with this one ward, you do not get enough vision because right here, X7 have a ward on the top side, but it has been disabled by the control ward that GameWard have put down. So X7 have no idea what's happening in this quadrant. And right here, GameWard, I think they're playing it really well and really safe. They're not going to force the issue. They're not going to walk into somewhere where they have no vision at all. Very well played GameWard. They're just going to shove in that wave and say, you know what? We'll display them in next team fight. This next team fight is a minute and 14 seconds later from where we are right now, because the Elder Dragon is going to spawn, and this is going to be a huge point of contention. And if anything, X7 have been notoriously be getting caught right before big objectives spawn. So X7 need to make sure that they do not face check all alone anywhere where GameWard could be creating a flank or a trap for them.
But now they are just trying to get some control of this quadrant. They have that sweeper. Chasy pops it in the wrong way. So won't spot out Akabane Innaxe as Tempt Does spot out Melonik. Kamilius is there, catches on with the chain lash. Holy moly, Melonik's health bar! Where did it go?
Oh,
But it's on the flank! Encore goes wide! Chasy is going wide, but Attila is going down! He jumps into Melonik! Melonik finishes him off! Shutdown's already been picked up! Melonik finds himself a double kill! X7 are running out of options right now! As Tempt jumps into the middle of everyone! Pops the stopwatch, Vikings low, the resurrection's coming in! Oh! Tempt somehow saves it all! Chasy finishes up the monkey! And X7 might just have done it, but Melonik's not done yet! This is such a back and forth fight as Viking has to get away from Melonik. Should be able to do so. Oh my god, my heart can't take this trouble.
Oh my word, GameWard had the best flank possible for this particular fight. And Innaxe, very uncharacteristically, misses the ult on all 4 members when he was in Fog of War. But you can see how close these fights are right now. Chasy, he went from being the bleeding wound of X7, the cause for a loss, if you will, on this game, to dealing so much damage and being the main carry together with Tempt when Attila goes down. Talking about carries though, 3 members dead from the side of GameWard, mainly Akabane with this smite. Viking, 9 seconds for the smite. You can't burn it down too fast. You need the smite up. 4 seconds for the smite. 3 seconds for the smite.
And then John to get the chains onto everyone. Attila's going to go down. No, he's able to cleanse. He's able to get away. But Viking needs to stay in the pit. He can't do so. He's jumping in. Oh no, the dragon's secured. And this is it. X7 lose 3. GW strike back again.
Melonik does it all for GameWard. You want him to play an on, he'll give you the engages. You want him to play Na, he'll give you the engages. You want him to play Akali, he'll find the backline. You give him the Aatrox, he'll carry your game to victory. He beats down Viking, he takes that Elder, and now GameWard get to march into X7's base and make this a 3-0.
I don't know how X7 can hold on. They got 20 seconds until Kasing's up and Viking, but Attila's not there for another 30. Elder in the pocket of X7, and Tempt is just about avoiding everything he can, taking that little bit of poke. Maybe they can clear out the wave. They look for the encore. They miss it out. Tempt still holding fast for the moment. They're about to come back up. Tempt's popped the ultimate. He has a stopwatch to keep himself up, trying to clear through this wave as quick as possible. Tempt's down. The gift of the Elder's able to do it as the tower will crumble. X7's dreams have been scattered here by the LFL. Once again, a 3-0 to GameWard.
And X7 are going out without a bang.
Oh, I'd say that was a bang.
Versus the
that
LFL.
Was a bang.
Quarterfinals is the maximum this team has ever been able to achieve, but for the 4th seed of LFL to show up this resilience 50 minutes in was insane. The only thing that makes me really sad is that we only caught a glimpse of what this series could be in game number 3. But for GameWard, this is such a rewarding best-of series. To know you've taken down such a formidable opponent in a clean manner gives you so much confidence going forward to face a 2nd or 3rd seed from the LFL, which you lost to in the playoffs.
Unbelievable performance there from GameWard. Let's be real. 3-0. X7, we finally saw some life from them, but they were already just too far behind. It was tragic, and I'm sad because you're right. That could have been what the whole series would have been. But unfortunately,
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
The play-ins buff was way too strong for the LFL 4th seed, and they 3-0 X7. We're going to throw to a break before letting our analysts break that down, so we'll see you in a moment.
You know, I don't really do this too often. I'll be good for real. Just watch. Yeah, hey, how you gon' feel when I take it? How you gon' feel when I take it? We about action, we don't say. We about action, we don't say. Coming for the crown, I need my fit. I don't stay in rooms that I don't fit in. She swear that I stay up on her mind like a fitted. Ain't that cap? She probably wouldn't give me time if I ain't around. Please see me, email me. I need all formalities. I need all incentives. This money's about the only thing on mind, like my business. That's black on the type of wave I've been on. And it's always got to crash like it's Windows. Need all of that and more. Give me all the glow. Give me one play. I'm on 24. Kobe right in that hour. Shot wet just like showers. Tell me who got all of that power. Oh, that's me. I carry loaded team.
5 a.m. I think I should go. Yeah, we spend all night, but I don't know why it feels so good when we're close. But when you leave, your feelings are gone. I'm orbiting around you like a satellite, running out of time, out of time. With every day I am losing my height. Do you realize that I need your gravity? Whenever you're not close to me, I feel like rolling in the deep, about to lose my sanity, yeah. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need your gravity. Whenever you're not close to me, I feel like rolling in the deep, about to lose my sanity, yeah. Stop leaving me so damn confused. Yeah, you said we have nothing to lose, yeah. 'Cause you like me and I like you too. But still nobody's making a move. Oh, I'm orbiting around you like a satellite, running out of time, out of time. With every day I am losing my height. Do you realize that I need your gravity? Whenever you're not. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need your gravity. Whenever you're not close to me, I feel like rolling in the deep, about to lose my sanity, yeah.
Welcome to our post show at the Amazon European Masters. It was an impressive showing from the LFL 4th seed GameWard that got the 3-0 over X7. And Nymera, if you need a shoulder to cry on, it's right here, buddy.
Have you got multiple? Like
I have
this
two.
was
I have 2 as well, so
this
that's
was
already
brutal.
4.
I'm gonna need a whole lot of shoulders, like a lot,
Yeah.
because that was well, never mind shoulders. That was back breaking. And X7 find themselves again getting 3-0'd, first round of playoffs by an LFL team, and this was just undignified. This was ridiculous.
And I think the worst feeling of all is the fact that you had, like, the 3rd game was like,
Yeah.
you know, we might get a 4th game.
There was some hopium involved at the end. I think it's insult to injury how the game ended for X7.
Yep.
If you're a poke comp with the Infernal Soul, with everything to play for, with your back against the wall, but you have everything in your own hand, to then throw it away at such a way, it really feels bad also for the players, because I don't think they expected to come in and get 3-0'd by GameWard,
No.
and then to end in such a fashion, that has to be heartbreak.
I mean, both of you didn't expect it to happen. You were thinking of like 5 games, but what I feel like, I don't know how you feel about this, Nymera, is the fact that they had a plan in game 1, didn't work. They tried again in game 2.
I mean, I think there is something to be said about sticking to your preparation. I don't think that is necessarily the problem. And actually, this is a big thing in the terms of the entire series. I feel like this game was just GameWard executing so much better. I mean, drafts be damned. I just feel like they had better hands on keyboards today.
Yeah, joining us for now is the mid laner from a GameWard. It's a player already managed to win European Masters once and is looking for another. Czekolad, how are you doing, my man?
Bonjour everyone. Actually, it's English cast, so hello, I'm really good, and I'm happy.
I mean, you can try it in Polish, right? I am the English version of Silvan.
Siema Sylvan.
Dziękuję. That's all I had.
Okay, cool, Sylvan. Good one.
Thank you. Check it out. Interesting series. I mean, I'm going to be honest, none of us expected it to be a 3-0.
But I did, so you guys are clueless.
No, tell us, why did you expect it to be...
Hang on, I have to be here, sat, watching my region's team go 0-3, and you come onto the interview and immediately bully me. I'm so sad.
I'm sorry. Honestly, like I don't know, we are confident that we're gonna win. I thought it would be kind of harder, but I think the enemy team was kind of choking, I would say, especially first games. First game they started playing good, like Korean Jayce hit us at some point, and legendary Attila most DPM in EU Master 2021, 1,700. I remember, he was actually scary at some point, but yeah. They were really hard. I mean, this team comp was hard because we had really good engage. And we failed so many engages, with Wukong, Seraphine, we failed too many engages. It should be looking better for us, I think.
Because looking at the mid lane matchup in specific against Tempt, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, first two games didn't look too pretty for Tempt, but the third game, I mean, he got on a roll. How was it to play against him?
I think nothing special, honestly.
Okay.
Another day on the
what
job.
can I say? I mean, this team is they were not really ganking mid as well, so I had more freedom, and he couldn't trade, I guess. I don't know. But I solo bolo him, so GG bank you fish.
So in game one, there's a specific play I wanted to talk about because it evolves around mid lane. It's the play where they put down the Herald, and I kind of want to talk to you about what was happening there because it seems like you got the priority that led up into a fight around Drake.
We exactly knew that the Herald is going to time out, and they had to use it right now, and we are just ready for it, From preparation, we knew if they don't Herald bot, to take turret or chunk turret to one plate, they always put it in mid, so it was good preparation from us, I think. And what did you say after?
It felt like Tempt was a bit too late on the play. Can you explain how you managed to do that?
He was late there? I don't remember, honestly. I just saw, but I didn't see.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like the most important thing is you judging your own performance in some ways too, because from what you've been saying in the interview and kind of what we felt viewing it as well, it felt like it really was just you guys playing out your own game. It wasn't you weren't challenged as much as potentially we thought you might do, but you viewing your own team and yourself, out of 10, what was today's performance like for you?
Okay, wait, they bring me pizza. I want this with...
Okay, so now it's a 10 out of 10.
Sausage.
These are the best teammates I've ever seen.
Wait, important question. What's on the pizza?
It's sausage, and I can't English, so I don't know.
He's passed the pineapple check.
Oh, okay.
He's passed the pineapple check.
Okay. Decent. What was the question? Sorry again.
Okay, so somewhere back before food-related things came into it, how would you rate your own performance today?
My own performance was, let's say, out of 10, and as a team, if we are not counting last game, it's actually 9 or 10 even, I would say.
Okay,
last game was just too many failing engages, I would say.
Yeah, because I was wondering, how much more is there to see?
7.
Yeah, so how much is there more to see from this team, right? Because obviously it felt like today you weren't necessarily as challenged as much. Do you think you got some more in the tank?
Can you repeat?
Do you think there's more for you to show?
He's too focused on the pizza.
Do you think there is more from you to show if today was a 7 out of 10?
I think, yeah, but honestly, the game, if you are not counting last game, it's 9 or 10, so, and it's really hard to play perfect 3 games, so maybe it's actually the best of us, what we did. It's, let's say 9, we can get better game when we just don't fail mechanically, engages, and then it's 10, I would say. Yeah, I think we, of course, can get better games.
I kind of want to talk about the growth this team has had, because obviously you are the 4th seed from the LFL, so it was okay, this is maybe the weakest team from the region, but it seems like the further we get into this tournament, the better you get. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, honestly, we started handling better with the pressure. I think play-ins buff is like really broken, honestly. Like we have so many competitive games lately, and like there is a lot of teams through play-ins that won EU Masters. Like I think K-Corp last split was
They did, yep.
And I remember LDLC maybe 1 year ago. I'm not sure, but it was with Attila. So like playing buff is really good, I think, for the main stage.
Awesome. I mean, it's going to mean that when we get to semis, you'll be even better, and then you'll eventually win finals, right?
Yes.
now let's talk a bit about the series more, because first of all, we talk about the 1+ MVP, and it is, in this case, your jungler, Akabane. Do you think that's a good choice, that Akabane is the MVP?
Now's your chance
here?
to flame us.
You can flame him. You can do whatever you want.
No, actually, like I love playing with Akabane in officials. Like he's so good and he's confident, but like I think he needs to work sometimes on the scrim, you know. So I can blame him that he's not consistent in scrims, and like officials, he's really good.
And it felt
like he played really good. Like it was deserved for sure.
And I felt like
the Vi engages and the Vi engages and like Wukong like with the Seraphine follow up. If Innaxe was better ulting, like he played really good. He was fucking ops. He was
I'm happy.
beyond this serious.
I'm happy I'm not your jungler because our synergy is not that good, Czekolad. But Dino, Akabane's performance, it kind of felt like in game 1 and 2 necessarily it was him that actually, you know, got the ball rolling.
Yeah, it's the Akabane sports drive you were talking about. He just cruised through the game. He had his shades on, he had his music blasting loud, and he was just the guy always engaging on Attila. Czekolad, you said you saw a glimpse of what Attila did last year in the last game now with pumping out a lot of damage, but it wasn't there for the first 2 games because Akabane was all over his case and he just didn't get to play the game. So it was an MVP worthy performance, and it spells a lot of danger for the teams that are going to face GameWard in the semifinals.
I think they were not really building the best for Attila to deal damage. So like he had really hard job to do. Like they don't have enough pillback, and we are really good engage. So like, it's really hard, honestly. Like with the Twitch, like he couldn't auto attack, you know. It's crazy.
I mean, obviously you have another Polish player in your lineup. I'm talking about Melonik. Melonik and Akabane were actually doing very well last split, and they were actually pretty close. Or they were on the right track to being one of the favorites, being one of the winners.
Yeah.
How is the general consensus between them? Or are they dreaming already about what it's like to win the tournament?
Last split, they were 8th place in LFL with me, so...
the split before that, yeah, sorry.
Last year, on big.
Maybe that one's just been blasted from the memories.
Are they dreaming for EU Masters? I know they sometimes talk about that if they draft better last game versus K-Corp, like last year, they can win finals versus Fnatic Rising, I think it was. But if they're dreaming right now, I don't know, like we are not really thinking about like winning right now. Like we are focusing on the current matches, and yeah, that's all.
What a humble man.
Yeah.
Won the tournament before, played in the LEC, has his piece of pizza, and he's just
got
like...
kicked from Excel.
Yeah, we don't talk
I don't know.
This guy, like, he walks in, he starts like bullying me for the NLC, brings out the pizza, flames his jungler. What more can this guy do?
I mean, well,
okay, I have a question. What is the score of NLEC against GameWard?
Stop it.
Oh,
It's 0-3.
Can you
Oh no,
tell us?
0-5. It's 0-5.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good moment to bring up the bracket as we look into the series for tomorrow, Czekolad. It's something I want to talk about today, because tomorrow, Naimera, before the PTZ kicks in, tomorrow's going to be LDLC against Dusty. How are you looking to that matchup, Czekolad?
I think Dusty will like 3-0, and we're gonna meet in finals, so we can do 8-0 versus NLEC.
Why would you say that?
Honestly, I think like Dusty got the toughest opponent, and I wish them good luck.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying this throughout the entire day already. In the pre-show, we dropped this. LDLC is one of the heavy favorites to win the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that, I mean, On the other side of it, if you are going to prove yourself as someone that can win the tournament, you got to beat them at some point anyway. Now, it sucks to meet them so early if you have more things to work out, particularly when we're talking about teams like GameWard, right, which are figuring things out as the tournament goes on. Kind of sucks to meet them earlier because you haven't had as much time to build up on it. But if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to do it at some point.
Dino, what's the matchup for you to watch?
Oof, I think all eyes should always be on Yike when LDLC is playing. I think that guy is just like if today Akabane was already a problem trying to chain him down, then Yike is actually that problem times 2, 9 times out of 10. But for Dust, yeah, I'm actually looking at top lane. I think Kerp, as you guys call him on the broadcast, he's either really popping off on stuff like the Darius, or he's a liability in my eyes.
Yeah, but Ragnar's really good too.
Yeah, Ragnar is...
I'm looking at this and I'm like, you got to try and find a mismatch somewhere, but LDLC are just really good across the board.
So, Czekolad, to get an idea, because we usually just watch the game, we never play these players because they're just way too good. How is it to play against LDLC? Like, what do they do so well?
I think they're really good at playing like with jungler on bot lane. And actually, I'm not gonna help you guys. Why you ask this question? I'm not gonna help you. They camp top lane every game and they cross map Herald all the time.
Czekolad, I thought that we were friends, man.
Sorry, what?
I thought we were friends.
So what LDLC are really good at is when they get like a pawn to the other side and then they make it into a queen and then they check at the other thing. Yeah, it's crazy what they do.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, LDLC.
Yeah, we are friends. We are friends, Sylvan. Don't worry.
Okay. Crappy. How do you say it?
Actually, I you know
something?
What? Yes, I kocham cię też. Grubasku. Grubasek ci śmieje.
Okay, he's just taking over in Polish. No, but we were talking about LDLC and you said something about Yike just playing very well around his ball lane. Is that the winning condition for LDLC?
Yeah, I think so. Like I would say bot lane is like the strongest part of LDLC, and I think Yike is like actually like the best, honestly, in this team. Yeah, I think Yike is the best.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think if you're an LEC team and you're scouting for jungle options for next season, Yike should be on top of your list every single time in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
I think what he has done at the ERL level already is insane.
I was going to ask for predictions, but Czekolad, you being the meanie you have been so far about everything going 3-0 against the MLC, I'm not going to ask you what your prediction is going to be. Namira, I am going to ask you what your prediction is, but be careful. Czekolad's going to use it against you, probably.
So I think it's definitely going to be a 3 for LDLC. I'm wondering if Dusty can sneak 1 because they're just like such a hard team to like absolutely. I think they're a very resilient team. I think they're very good at like when they have taken a loss, they'll take a lesson from that and they'll move a little bit beyond it. I think it's enough to get them 1 win, and it'll have to be an upset at that. It'll have to be crazy, but I believe in them to get 1.
Dino?
No, that's going to be a 3-0 for LDLC.
Ouch.
For me. I think we just saw how strong the LFL is ramping up in the tournament, and I think it's time for the LFL Masters. We already guaranteed an LFL team in the finals with GameWard winning today, and LDLC is just waiting to get there to beat them against like they did in the playoffs, so 3-0.
3-0. I mean, Czekolad, I'm going to ask you just for the form, but you think it's going to be 3-0 as well. LDLC to good?
Yes, 3-0 for sure.
Czekolad, I'm going to thank you for your time. Enjoy your pizza, and we'll see each other in semis.
You want some? You look like you want some.
I always look like I want some.
I might need some pity pizza, yeah.
But guys, you need to check my Twitter post. It's really fun, I think.
Okay, I'll check your Twitter.
We'll
How much more pain is this going to induce?
I'm not sure.
Czekolad!
Oh my god, it's the 1+ MVP.
Budget Malarang, hello.
He even ganks interviews now. Crazy.
He ganks interview. You are MVP. He's so happy. He's so happy, guys. He never won MVP, that's why he's so happy.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Czekolad, thank you so much for your time, and dobranoc.
Dobranoc. Salute, guys. Thank you for interview.
And for us, the LFL...
Was it an interview, though?
It was an interview,
it was
something like it.
PGL, right? Like in LEC.
Yeah.
I think we
get one, so...
I think we just chucked a stream on in the back.
Can we kick him out?
Yeah.
No, would be great. So, the LFL looks on... He's just gonna leave! Right now, the LFL looks unstoppable. The NLC will get another chance tomorrow to stop that unstoppable force. At least that's what we hope for. But tomorrow, all eyes will be on the tournament favorites, LDLC Olympique Lyonnais. You do not want to miss their match against Dusty, so tune in again tomorrow. That's it for today. Thank you to everyone. Have a nice evening, and dobre noc for you too.
I'm monolingual.